Unlock a Life You Love podcast. My name's Dr. Tim Teel, and want to welcome you back to yet another episode here. And today we're going to do a little soliloquy work. I'm going to take a step back and take a look back at the previous episodes that we have done and kind of try and bring things together just a little bit about the story that we're trying to tell around here and draw the common thread that is running through every single one of the previous episodes that that we have that we put on here, because it's time to move forward and demonstrate to people how to take back their own personal power. The one common thread that is running through every single one of the previous 20 episodes of our podcast here about how to unlock a life you love is all about doing one thing, and that is taking back your own personal power, whether that is emotional power, whether that is physical power, whatever that is. We're trying to demonstrate to you over and over and over again through which is the common thread through all 20 previous episodes that we've done here, is how do we take back our own personal power? I believe that we are on the edge of a golden era of human evolution, of human development. There are a lot of pieces of information that are coming together here about how we operate as human beings, what we really are. And it all pivots on the primary premise of the fact that we are not bodies with souls. We are souls. We are spirits having a human experience. And if you don't think we're saying the same thing here, I want to explain to you, what the difference is, because there is a language that every single human being speaks. There is one common language among the entire human family, and that is emotion. It is the first thing that we express when we enter this world. We cry as babies. That is the expression of emotion. And for the rest of your life, regardless of who you're standing next to, if you're crying, they know that you're experiencing something unpleasant. And it doesn't make any difference what language you speak. Everybody knows what you're feeling. If you are laughing, it doesn't make any difference who's standing next to you and what language they speak. They all understand that you're experiencing something that you thought was funny. Okay, we all laugh in the same language, regardless of what language you speak. The primary language of human beings is emotion. When you understand that concept, that that emotion is a language, with every language there is a pattern, there are rules, and there are constructs to that language. So if we're speaking a language, maybe we should know the rules and the patterns and the behavior of that language. And in the emotion, in the language of emotion, one of the primary rules is that whatever you say first is the most important thing. Okay. So when I say I'm a body with a soul, I'm saying in the language of emotion, which is the language of our spirit, which is the primary language of human beings, we're saying that the body is the most important thing and that the soul is secondary to it. Well, you can do that because one of the other rules of living in this world is that you have free will. It's the most dangerous and the most powerful thing that that you've been granted as a human being in this earthly realm is free will. So if you want to believe that you are a body with a soul, you can do that. Nobody's going to tell you that you can't. And if that's the way you want to experience life, you may. However, if you would like to try on I am a spirit having a human experience and see how that feels and see how that operates in your life, you will find that it is a much, much more powerful way to approach your life. And when you do that, now the operating system, the physical body that you live in, has an operating system. And now, when you align yourself with saying that that the spirit is the most powerful thing, it's the most important thing, and that I'm going to treat it as if it were the most important thing, this is the first step in creating miracles in your life that you didn't know were possible. So when you align yourself with the language, learn the rules, the patterns, and the characteristics of the language of our bodies and souls, the world changes in an instant, my friends. And so, the first thing that you have to learn and understand is that emotions are the primary language of human beings, and that there are rules, patterns, and characteristics to that language. And one of those rules is that the first thing that you say is the most important thing. When you do that, you start to unlock magic in your life. And that's exactly what every single one of the people that we've had on this podcast, from John Bygraves to Trish Kane to Cam Popper, all of these people are trying to teach you what happens when you take control of your life, your physical existence, what happens when you take control of your emotional existence, what happens when we recognize that we are emotional, spiritual, energetic beings, and that there are rules that are that apply to that philosophy. And when you align yourself with those rules, crazy stuff starts to happen. And all of a sudden, you realize how unbelievably powerful you really are. And every single one of us really is. And so, at the end of this podcast today, I'm going to give you some suggestions of things that you can do. And I have one very powerful suggestion. I'm just going to tell you what it is up front, and that is get into my tapping program. We have a free emotional freedom tapping program. It's the easiest, simplest, most powerful, and fastest way to demonstrate to you yourself that a shift in emotions and emotional control is possible. It is not the only tool. It is by all means not the most powerful tool that we have, but it is fast. And that's why it is the doorway into this world of how do we take back control of our physical and emotional lives, and how do we play by the rules of the operating system that operates within every single one of us, and it operates in the language of emotion. So maybe we should learn the rules, the patterns, and the characteristics of our emotional language. And that is the common thread, my friends, of what's running through every single one of the previous podcast episodes that we've done here. So today is just is a pause session. We're gonna hit the pause button and say, look, listen. Here is the golden thread that's running through this whole thing. Pay attention to that. Go back and listen to some of these old podcasts and listen for that very thing going forward, because what we're doing is unlocking the secrets of how you take back your own personal power. It is not a little deal, guys. This is a big deal. And this is why I don't believe it. I actually know that we are on the cusp of a golden era of human evolution, human development, where people learn to take back their own personal power and stop following the constructs of, well, the power's in the church, or the power's in the school, or the power's in the government, or the power's in my doctor. No, no, no. These people are all your partners. They have a role to play, but the power, my friends, the miracles happen when the power is inside of you. And so, what I want to talk about today is how we can take some of those initial steps of returning your own personal emotional power to you. How do we take some of the initial steps of making the shift from an orientation of automatic emotional responses versus choosing our emotional responses, and what the rules, patterns, and characteristics are of each one of those two different orientations. So this is just an introduction, and I am going to encourage you to take another step beyond just listening to what it is that we're talking about today, and actually do something and move forward to take back your own personal power. It is the most important job that you will do in your lifetime, and you can join this new golden era of human evolution, guys. We are going to see all kinds of crazy things start to happen in this world as people wake up and claim back their own personal power. So what we're going to do is teach you how to pay attention to that and the initial steps that you can do, because that's what we've been doing here all the way along. And if you start listening for how do I take back my own personal power when you listen to the Unlock a Life You Love podcast, that's exactly what we intend to demonstrate to you this is the real meat of the podcast is how do I take back my own personal power? So we have to teach you one of the first concepts. Again, the rules, patterns, and characteristics of the language of emotion, and what the difference is between positive and negative emotion. And this is the when you understand this concept, number one, it's going to blow your mind, and number two, you start to see it everywhere, and it represents a difference, a different way of looking at the world. So pay attention to what it is that I'm going to teach you right now. So if you're out somewhere else, your attention is somewhere else, bring it back, because I'm going to teach you the most powerful concept about how to learn to take back your own personal power, and that is understanding the difference between positive and negative emotion. We have all experienced both positive and both negative emotion. But what are the characteristics of positive and negative emotions? Because if you understand this concept, you can change your life in an instant and start applying this concept multiple times over and over and over again in your life, and it'll change your world altogether. So here's the difference. The difference between negative and positive emotion is this one concept, and that is this: where is the locus of emotional power in that felt emotion? Okay. So where's the power? Where's the power? Is it outside of me or is it inside? If you think of your skin as the dividing line between outside of me and inside of me, which is a fairly obvious thing to assume, my skin is the dividing line between me and everything else. Yes, but the same thing goes with your emotional energy. When you understand this concept, it'll change your life. Here's the definition of negative emotion: the locus of emotional power in any negative emotion. I don't care whether it's fear, anger, upset, anxiety, shock, despair, depression, doesn't make any difference. The locus of emotional power in any negative emotion is outside. It's outside of me. Okay. It's outside of my physical body. You think about that for just a second. You can't be angry unless you got something to be angry about. You can't be jealous unless there's something to be jealous about. That's the no, that's the easiest marker to deal with. The locus of emotional power with any negative emotion is outside of me. The characteristics of negative emotion is that it has a tendency to be dispersive, okay, which makes sense because the locus of emotional power is outside of me. So that's no, that's emotional power that's moving away from me. It is chaotic and it is destructive. Well, why in the world would the God that created us give us, hardwire us for negative emotions that are dispersive, chaotic, and destructive? Why do you think that is? It's because it's really useful if you need to fight, hide, run away, or scream for help for anything. Okay. So those negative emotions serve us very, very powerfully because you were built for survival. You were. That's why you're here, to experience negative emotions, understand them, and then decide consciously to say maybe there's something more powerful, and there is. Okay. So negative emotions, the locus of emotional power is outside of us. They have a tendency to be dispersive, chaotic, and destructive. And if you think about any negative emotion, you'll see that pattern fits. It's chaotic, dispersive, and destructive emotional energy, which is useful if you need to fight, hide, run away, or scream for help. It is a survival mechanism, guys, and you are all hardwired for it. And we know that because every single one of you cried the second that you were separated from your mother. Okay, think about that from the baby's perspective. For 9 months, he doesn't even know he's even on this planet. All his needs are met. He can hear his mom talking. He can hear her heartbeat. He can hear her breathing, and his right ear is up against mom's large bowel, so he can hear her farting all the time. Sounds disgusting, but it's true. Okay, and then one day, this baby wakes up. Somebody's squeezing the daylights out of his head. He shoots out into the world. Somebody's shining a bright light on him. He's cold and he can't hear his mother farting anymore. So, what is the kid going to experience? Separation. And then what is he going to do in response to that? He gets afraid. What's the next step? He expresses himself with emotion, the emotion of crying. And everybody on the planet automatically recognizes what's going on. And so, what's the next obvious step to take with that baby? You give him back to his mama. And all of a sudden, he can hear her talking, he can hear her breathing, he can hear her heartbeat. And maybe if he's lucky, she passes a little gas. And that way, the kid knows exactly where he belongs again. And what does he do? He shuts up. He stops expressing his negative emotion because now his needs are met. So that chaotic, dispersive, destructive emotional energy serves the kid at a very important level. It's a survival mechanism, guys. Every single negative emotion that we experience is a survival mechanism, and it runs on a computer program just like a computer would. And if you don't believe it, let me ask you three questions. Number one, have you ever felt negative emotion in your life? Fear, anger, anxiety, upset, despair, sadness, any of the rest of these things? Of course you have. We all have. That's the human condition, right? Number two, did you ever wake up today or any other day of your life and say, oh, I want to experience fear, anger, hatred, upset, anxiety, despair, depression? Anyway, did anybody ever experience that and want to experience that? No. So the third question is this: if you're experiencing negative emotions and you don't want to experience negative emotions, why are you experiencing negative emotions? That's the most important question you're going to ask yourself today. Why am I experiencing negative emotions? If I experience these things, I don't want to experience them. Why are you experiencing them? And the reason is this: you were hardwired for survival, my friends. And there is a program running inside of you at an unconscious level that says, I have to fight, hide, run away, or scream for help for anything that I perceive is threatening my survival. And it serves us well. We'll look in the mirror. There's the proof. It's looking back at you. It says, you survived. Way to go, kid. Yippee. Good job. But as we wake up, you have to recognize that this is a primitive caveman, animalistic response to the entire life experience. And once you understand that all negative emotions are a survival level, primitive level response, the world just changed for you because now you realize that that's nothing but a program that's running inside of me and I don't like it. Cool. Change it. How do we change it? Well, understand what are the rules, patterns, and characteristics of positive emotion. Okay, here's the rules, patterns, and characteristics of positive emotion. Positive emotion, the locus of emotional power is inside of me. It's emotional energy that's moving toward the center of me. The locus of emotional power is deep to my skin and moving toward the core of me. The characteristics of positive emotion is exactly the opposite of negative emotion. If negative emotion is dispersive, positive emotion is concentrated. If negative emotion is chaotic, positive emotion is organized. Hmm. If negative emotion is destructive, positive emotion is creative. So the characteristics of positive emotions is this is organized, creative, concentrated emotional energy. Now you tell me, would you rather experience dispersive, destructive, and chaotic emotional energy that causes you to fight, hide, run away, or scream for help? Or would you prefer to experience concentrated, organized, creative emotional energy, the locus of emotional power of which is inside of you? There's a reason it feels good, guys. It's because it's concentrated, it's inside of you, it is organized, it is not chaotic, it is organized, and it is creative. Hmm. Pay attention. I just gave you the information to change your life altogether because I haven't met anybody yet that understood emotions at this level and understood that emotion is a primary language of human beings. And if that's the primary language of human beings and it's hardwired into us, maybe we should understand it to help unlock your emotional power and understand that negative emotions are nothing more than a program that's running inside of you that helps you to fight, hide, run away, or scream for help when you experience anything that triggers negative emotions in you. And what you're triggered by is nothing but a program that's running in your head. I think it's actually running in your body, but that's a discussion for another day. In fact, we've actually already talked about that. I'm absolutely convinced that that program's running in DNA, but we can talk about that more at another time, or you can go back and listen to the podcast episodes where we actually talk about that. So now that you understand the difference between negative and positive emotion, and now that you understand that negative emotions of all forms are nothing more than a survival level response, it is a primitive survival level response, and positive emotions are the more powerful, much more pleasant thing to experience. The question becomes, how do we change our orientation from survival to creation? And this, my friends, is the most important decision you will ever make in a lifetime. And I realize I may have shot past a handful of folks. Maybe I shot past everybody. I don't care. I have to get this information out there. This is part of my mission is to help people understand that that when we're in the survival mode, we're in survival orientation. It is an orientation that will allow you to survive, but no, survival doesn't mean it's a life you love. Okay, when we move to the creative orientation and we consciously choose to use positive emotions and engage in positive emotions to help us create the life we want, to unlock a life you love. Hence, the very purpose of this entire podcast. This is the moment. We call it the magician's gate or the wizard's gate or the point at which we make the complete awakening from negative emotional responses to choosing positive emotional responses. That, my friends, is the moment that magic enters your life and miracles become a matter of just everyday experience. Okay. In 1902, flying machines was a miracle. In 1903, the Wright brothers demonstrated it was nothing more than understanding physics and the practical application of physics. Unlocking a life you love is not a miracle. Understanding the very nature of who we are as emotional, energetic, and spiritual beings, that the operating system that helps you unlock a life you love is yours alone, but you must choose it. And you must step away from the survival orientation and step into the creative orientation. When that happens, miracles become a way of life. And that, my friends, is exactly the point at which our entire civilization is rocketing toward right now. And I'm going to teach you how to get a part of some of that action and how to apply these principles very, very simply in your life. And you can get started today if you want to. That's pretty exciting, isn't it? So here's my invitation to you. Get involved in our emotional freedom technique tapping class. It is a free deal. All right. We don't charge for it. We've got other programs that we actually charge for, but no, but the emotional freedom technique tapping course is a very, very simple, easy way to demonstrate to you how to make this shift from survival to creation, how to get from an automatic emotional response to a more productive, a more valuable, a more creative, a more powerful emotional orientation by using your body as the switching mechanism to change your mind, to change your heart, to rewrite the freaking program that is inside of you that you didn't know before today was there. Good heavens. This is a big deal and it will change your life. I know because it changed mine. Okay. In 2020, I was introduced to emotional freedom technique tapping, I've told you that story here before. I'll tell it to you again. I did this, and immediately I felt something happen inside of me. Okay, there was a shift that happened the very moment that I started using it. And if you don't feel a shift the moment that you start using it, just keep using it for a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of time, a tiny bit of grace, and start applying it in the way that we teach you how to apply it. There is, this is the first step in getting the keys to the kingdom, kids, because we have all kinds of tools to help you unlock the immense emotional power that you have inside of every single one of us. You just need the right tools, and those tools are coming at us hot and heavy right now. So go on over to our website, www.docofunlock.com, and right on the front page there's an introduction to every single one of the free and some of the paid programs. Scroll down and watch some of the videos. They won't take you but a few minutes to watch. Sign up for the program and start tapping. It is fantastic. I was introduced to this in 2020 when my world got shook just like yours and everybody else's. And what I started doing was simply tapping on anxiety. I would tap on sadness. I would tap on worry, tap on anger, tap on all kinds of unwanted emotions, and use your body as a signaling mechanism to tell your brain, "Hey, we want to do something different here." If you want to break the back of an unwanted emotional experience, just tap. Sit down and do 2 minutes of tapping, guys. I watched over and over and over again, not only in my life but in the lives of my patients, that a shift was possible. Boom, in 2 minutes or less. Okay, and if you didn't get everything you wanted, come back and do it again another time. I'll tell you what happened to me. I learned about this and started learning some more about it. And one of the things that can leave a tremendous emotional mark on a baby is early childhood separation from your mother. That happened to me at the age of 6 months old. My mom got sick, was hospitalized for like 8 months. I got shipped off to my grandparents. Learned to walk down there, and then when I was 14, 15 months old, I got reunited with my family, and we thought everything was great. It was not. I didn't know it. Okay, until I went to tapping on it at the tender age of 51 years old. I'm tapping on early childhood separation from my mom at 6 months of age. And the third place that I go to tapping on this, I have an emotional breakdown. I start crying so hard I wanted to puke. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to die. This goes on for 10 minutes. You ever cried so hard in your life that you thought you were going to die and it goes on for 10 minutes? Holy cow, that'll change your life. And all I did was just tap on my body and say, despite my early childhood separation from my mom, I'm okay. That's it. And it elicits this huge emotional response. Well, I hit the jackpot. You may or may not hit the jackpot on things, but it freaked me smooth out. And after it quit, after about 10 minutes or so, I said, "Man, I'm never doing that again." Well, 2 months later, I'm back in the same chair doing it again just because I'm curious. So I go to tapping on it again. The third place that I go to tapping on, I have this huge emotional breakdown. I start crying so hard I think I'm going to die. I want to puke. I can't breathe. I'm convinced I'm going to die. And all of this is just because I'm tapping on my body saying, despite this, I'm okay. Goes on for 5 minutes this time. Okay. And then quits. And I'm just completely shocked and confused, but unbelievably curious about what the heck is going on here. And so I said, I don't want to do that again. 2 weeks later, I'm back in the same chair doing it again. And I do the tapping. I get to the third spot to tap and nothing happens. And I go to the fourth and nothing happens. I go to the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, like nothing's happening. And so I do it all again. Nothing happens. Like, this is weird. And then I realized, I paid attention to my own body and I realized that something was missing. Yeah. This twisting sensation that I had in my chest that I carried around for 50 some odd years that I thought it was just normal was gone from that moment in 2021 to today. Is gone and has never been back. My friends, we are all carrying some form of emotional trauma that just needs to be dropped. It's nothing more than a few minutes away. And yeah, I hope that that you have the opportunity to to experience the sort of hitting the mother load like I did. It completely changed my mind. It introduced me to this work, and I realized in that moment that what's happening throughout the entire planet is an awakening the likes of which you cannot wrap your head around. And I will help you to walk your way through that. We're not even going to charge you a dime for it. It is that important that you get your hands on this information. And once you experience a shift, then you'll want to do more. You will be begging for, what else we got here? And we can introduce you to the more powerful and more powerful and more powerful concepts as we go along. But for crying out loud, do something. You, my friends, are all here for a purpose. It is to learn something about these bodies, these lives that that we are living. And these secrets are being unlocked one after the other, very, very rapidly. And then once you learn that there's secrets to be unlocked and you learn how powerful you really are, all of a sudden you've unlocked a life of miracles that happen on a daily basis. My friends, it is absolutely possible. It is not just possible, it is reality that you, my friends, are a powerful, powerful person. You are a powerful spirit having a human experience, and I want to help you unlock that, dude. I'm applying for that job, and you don't even have to pay me, at least for the first step. So go on over to www.docofunlock.com. Watch the front page there. There's all kinds of free programs. Sign up for that, the Emotional Freedom Technique tapping course. We've actually got one for specifically designed for kids in the foster care system because I know exactly the kind of emotional trauma that those kids have experienced, and we can help you walk through that program. But emotional tapping for adults, fantastic program, won't cost you a dime. And once you understand what a shift is possible, you, my friends, will have unlocked a life you will love. Told you I'd keep these programs relatively short. Now I've overshot it by about 3 minutes today, but I really think there's an important message in here for you. And a shift is possible. An awakening is upon us. The golden era of human evolution, human spiritual development is here. It has arrived, my friends, and I will teach you. I will take you by the hand and show you how to start unlocking that in your life. Go to www.docofunlock.com. Sign up for that emotional freedom technique tapping course, and we'll see you back here next time. My name's Dr. Tim Teel. I am the Doc of Unlock. This is the Unlock a Life You Love podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for being here.